Hello and welcome. My name's Katie Stickley. I run Did Teach, and I'm delighted to be joined by Anna Neville today because we are talking about Kidslingo, and we're talking about how teachers are a really good fit for Kidslingo and how that works. So Did Teach, as you know, we help teachers find alternative careers whilst teaching, and Anna helps place them into her franchise. So can you tell me a bit more about yourself and your background and why you set up Kidslingo?
Yes, hi Katie. Well, as Katie said, my name is Anna Neville. I am the founder, franchisor, lots of different titles, CEO of Kidslingo. We are a national-based franchise. We teach French and Spanish to the 0 to 11 age range, and the approach is all about fun. So it's songs, it's games, it's storytelling, it's drama. It's making that experience memorable, play-based, and really fun for those children. So the learning just ultimately sticks. We just literally this week, very exciting, we are celebrating our 11th birthday as a franchise.
Well done.
So thank you. So yeah, lovely to reach another birthday milestone. Last year was like the biggie with 10. I sort of think we're 2 years off being teenagers now. So does that mean there's going to be rocky roads at that point? So I set up the business 2 years before we obviously became a franchise, and initially it was just about me. It was about fitting around my family. It was about using my skill set of languages, and it just grew and developed at a pretty rapid speed. And I couldn't really have anticipated that there would be that much demand at a local level. And then obviously, once I franchised, it was obviously then looking at the national level as well.
Wow. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? You've won so many awards. I mean, you personally, but as Kidslingo too. Can you tell us a bit about these awards and how you won them? How did that make you feel?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, in fact, if the camera was slightly around there, the awards shelf is actually over that shoulder. So I mean, awards are, I think, a really important part of a marketing strategy ultimately, because they not only do they give great publicity and something to shout about and something to be very proud of, I think they also reassure customers because they have that degree of credibility, that endorsement from external bodies that you've won these awards, and an endorsement that you're doing things in the right way and have all those sort of systems in place as a brand. So this year we've won the Club Hub Franchise of the Year, which was very exciting. The end of last year, we won the What's On for Kids Most Loved Creative and Academic Activity, and we are finalists attending in November. So we'll see what 2024 brings us from that point of view. Personally, recently, I just won the Woman Who Solopreneur Award, and this Thursday off to the EWIF Awards. So we'll see what that brings.
It's just amazing, isn't it? And I think it says a lot about your brand that you're doing something that really matters, aren't you? You're doing something that within the community that people are really engaging with, and like you say, it's educational as well, isn't it? It's not. There's the fun elements to it as well, which is lovely, but just mixing that with the education is kind of a perfect mix.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's spot on. Just in terms of our approach, it is that blend of something which is a real vital life skill in terms of languages and all the things that can bring for children and young adults and then into adulthood as well, but making it as fun as possible, so it just makes it accessible. And that's what we want to do. We want to open the doors, open the eyes to an amazing learning experience. And we hope, obviously, if we make it fun enough and engaging enough and valuable enough, then those children will then carry on with that skill as they move through their education and into their lives as well.
Lovely. I'd like if you could just explain like a typical session with Kidslingo, maybe in a school or nursery setting, if you wouldn't mind, just sort of talk us through how that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as you said, I always say there's sort of no such thing as a typical day in the life of a franchisee, because there's just so many different things we do. So if I first of all just explain the different types of classes we do, and then I'll talk about the detail. So most of our work is within schools and nurseries. So a lot of children's brands work in the community sector, and we do work in community venues, church halls, community centres, that sort of thing. But the vast majority of our work is going into nurseries and going into schools. And when we go into schools, there are three main parts of the work we do. There are school clubs, which can be breakfast, lunchtime, or after school. After school tend to be the more popular ones, but we offer the others as well. But also curriculum teaching, so going in, doing PPA cover, so actually going into the classroom in the structured timetable timetable of the day, being the French teacher, the Spanish teacher, things like that. And the third thing we offer, which is quite new to us actually, are enrichment days. So we will go in, we will set up the school hall, we'll have an ice cream stand, we'll have an aeroplane simulator, we'll have postcard writing area, we'll have post boxes, and it's about getting the children in and having a real immersive experience of the language. So that's a really, really fun extra thing we do. And we do, alongside that, we do sort of online classes, one-to-one classes, group classes, and that sort of thing. So in terms of a typical class, I guess if we take a nursery class, because the personal favourite, I know I shouldn't have favourites, should I? But personal favourite, love nursery classes. Although I don't do any of the teaching myself anymore. But so you'll arrive. Often you'll have little faces at the window because they're all excited about seeing you. So we get all the children start off sitting in a circle, and we'll do our fun hello song, and we use actions to support that. Quite a lot of our teachers are Makaton trained as well, so they'll be using the Makaton actions to support the learning. So all the children, whether they've been attending our classes for months or never seen us before, they can all join in because it's a really simple start. We take it slowly, we introduce things, we use the actions, we use a lot of visual props as well. So we'll do the hello song, we'll get the children to say their names. Often we'll pass around, in fact I've got him sitting right next to me, often we'll pass around our our Kidslingo bear, just because the children often feel very nice and secure holding the bear, and they're more comfortable with speaking. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make them feel comfortable with actually saying those words in a different language, because even sometimes that age, children speaking their own language, their own native tongue, can be intimidating in a group situation. So we're trying to make them feel as comfortable as possible. So we'll often say our name, and then we'll introduce whatever topic is that we're on. So the topic could be superheroes, the topic could be wild animals, the topic could be parts of the body. So we'll be introducing a few words and actions. We'll be learning some songs. We don't like them sitting still for long. After about 5 minutes, and they've got to be up and doing some actions and then sitting back down again. So we're really trying to alter the pace of the lesson just to really keep them engaged, because sometimes they can be as young as 2 or even below in our classes, and it's really, really important to vary the pace to keep them engaged. So we'll have lots of props. Like if we were doing wild animals, for example, we'd have all our soft toys, our lions and our snake and our parrot and all these things. Flashcards we use again for lots of visuals, so lots of games, a few more songs, parachute, bubbles, playing games, playing hide and seek under the parachute, just really making sure it's fun. And we're using every minute of that 30 minutes with them to really, really engage them and have fun. Obviously, as we go up the age range, the activities, the learning is obviously very much age appropriate. But the fundamental thread of fun never goes away. Even with our year 6s, we still want them to be having fun. You can still be teaching them quite a lot of important, serious stuff, but actually you can have real fun with it as well.
It sounds like you pack in a lot during those sessions, which is great. It's lots of energy, which is it's nice, isn't it? Because you're inspiring the kids and you're getting them excited about the content you're delivering. Just thinking, with a kind of teacher hat on, who comes up with the lesson content, and are your franchisees allowed to adapt the lessons to suit their own needs? Tell me a bit about the writing of it. Is it linked to
it's very collaborative. It's very collaborative, Katie. And interesting you asked that question, because every single prospective franchisee I speak to who is a teacher or comes from some form of teaching background asks exactly that same question, because they are naturally incredibly creative individuals. That's just part of being a teacher, isn't it? That you're creative and you've got lots of ideas and you want to share those ideas. So yeah, absolutely. We've obviously got our set lot of nursery plans and lesson plans and resources and everything, which is literally into the thousands. I think the last time I counted up, it's about 3,500-4,000 files. But it is a constantly evolving resource bank. So yeah, our franchisees come up with ideas all the time. And what's really lovely is that they share those ideas, and we can then harness those ideas and give them to everybody in the format that's going to be useful for them for the lessons. So yeah, we always say, look, ideas come from everyone and anyone. And our job is sometimes to just take those ideas and put them into a structure that can then be utilised in the classroom. So yeah, there's a huge bank of resources which have been developed over the years by myself and other members of the team, and franchisees have had a key role in that. But there's new content all the time. Honestly, not a day goes by without some resource being added into the mix. So it keeps it fresh for the franchisees, it keeps it fresh for the pupils, and it just keeps it up to date. Things change, things do change. And in the 11 years that we've been doing that, I think probably all of our resources have been through probably 2-3 at least iterations to make sure that they're up to date and they're fitting with how we want to be teaching and what we want to be teaching.
Yeah, that's great. And thinking about other skills that teachers bring to the mix, as well as being able to sort of adapt lessons and make them their own and enjoyable. What else do you think teachers bring to becoming a franchisee with Kidslingo?
Teachers are amazing, and I often think teachers really underestimate themselves when they're considering leaving teaching or doing something alongside. There's often that question of like, well, what could I do? How is my skill set relevant elsewhere? And honestly, they make amazing franchisees, just literally without question. Teachers are, organized, they're creative, they're passionate, they're brilliant at multitasking, they work under pressure. I think often they like a structure of a franchise because that's sort of what they've been used to, working within a structure of a school or whatever, but with flexibility to add their own things. And it's exactly the same. So I honestly, whenever I speak to any teacher who's maybe sort of questioning themselves a little bit in terms of, what could I do next, or how do my skills apply? I really try and reassure them and just say, honestly, we've got an amazing bunch of franchisees, some from a teaching background, some from a non-teaching background, and they're all wonderful. But teachers really do bring something special to the party. They really do. They're just, their skill set is, honestly, you couldn't match it better if you tried.
That's really nice to hear and really reassuring. And I think a lot of the reason we go into teaching in the first place is that education, but also that connection. And I think by running something like Kidslingo, the fun element of it is something that we almost have to kind of crush out of ourselves when we're dealing with exam classes or the next kind of academic cohort and the next rules by the government or Ofsted, and it does kind of impinge, I guess, upon us having fun with the students. So if they've had time teaching and then they could go into something like your franchise and regain that fun, I think that's important, isn't it?
Honestly, absolutely right. I have so many teachers who say to me, I've just become an exam factory. I just have to get those kids in. I have to drum this knowledge into them, and then they just leave. And it's just, it's dampening, if not killing off, their love of why they started it in the first place. And we, going back to the beginning, teaching is a vocation, isn't it? You go, there aren't that many reasons you go into teaching other than you really want to pass on your knowledge and instill that love of whatever your subject is into children. And I think, unfortunately, lots of teachers find that the love just gets dampened down over the years and stamped out completely in some circumstances. So, what I always say to people, I say, look, running a franchise, running a Kidslingo franchise gives you that opportunity to still be involved with languages, still be involved with teaching young children, but to actually regain that love and that fun. I'd never underestimate how hard it is, because don't get me wrong, running a franchise is not running a business in any shape or form is not an easy option, but it doesn't have everything that teaching now has to go with it, in terms of the constant assessments, in terms of the observations, in terms of the reams and reams of paperwork, in terms of the expectations of all of those out of hours work, all of those things which are so hard for teachers and cause so much stress. It's like taking all the good stuff and putting it into it, as I said, working hard context and running your own business, but it just can rekindle that love. And so many franchisees have said that. It's just like, I love it again. I love my working life. I love teaching languages again. And when my heart soars when they say things like that, it is, isn't it? It's you feel like, I've really done good here.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you find that because they are really loving what they're doing and really engaging with those sessions, that perhaps some of the business side that wouldn't be such a natural fit because they've never done that before. Is that easier because they're just really enjoying the brand and really engaging with the content?
Absolutely, I think so. And it's easy to sell something and market something that you really believe in, isn't it? And that you're passionate about. And I think if passion shines through, everything else just follows suit. And we can teach them all the ins and outs of the business side of it. But you know what? Often it's very intuitive for them, because going back to what we said about the skill set, organization, multitasking, attention to detail, those are, as you well know, those are the things that are really important in running a business, aren't they? Yeah. And being proud of what you do. And I think if you've got all those things in place with the support of the franchise structure and the templates and the operations manual and everything that goes with it, it's an easy step for teachers. They can actually pick it up remarkably quickly, because they're experts in teaching. They may not think they're experts in business, but actually they pretty rapidly become experts in business as well.
Yeah, excellent. And your support packages there and the training, and you have ongoing training, don't you, as well?
Loads of support, pick up the phone whenever they want, lots of ongoing webinars, conferences, all of that. We're here to support them and try and help them be as successful as they want to be.
Well, that's lovely. Do you have any meetups like throughout the year? Do you all get together, and how does that work?
Oh, brilliant. So what are we, 3 weeks ago, 28th of September, we had our annual conference. So that was really fantastic. So that's getting nearly everybody, a couple of weddings and various things going on that people couldn't make it, but nearly everybody in the room. And that's just a chance to share, to learn from each other. Sessions where we work together. We did a whole development session about all the science of language learning, chat, share ideas, just be together in the room. And I wish we could do that more often. It's as I said, it's hard enough to get everyone together once a year, but so we do. That's the big get together. And then we have. I always host like a Christmas lunch here as well, and anyone's invited. Obviously, it tends to be the local people who come, but anyone's invited for that. So that's a bit of Christmas do. And then we have social activities around the year, really, and those are usually organised by the franchisees. So we've got a London one coming up early November, which is just a Saturday afternoon, lunch out in central London. And we usually have a Manchester one, which tends to be into January or sometimes February. And then really other franchisees will happily organise them in their regions, and people will come.
That's really nice. It's nice to sort of hear that, you're still part of a network. Because I think when you're teaching, you're part of quite a close-knit community, aren't you? And that's almost replicated, I think, in Kidslingo.
Yeah, we tried really hard to build and develop that community spirit, because as you say, it can be really hard whether you're a teacher or not. It can be really hard going from employment to self-employment, because when you're employed, you've usually got people around you a lot of the time, and when you're self-employed, it is a different ball game. Yes, you're seeing lots of people, you're going into different schools, you're going to different nurseries, you're meeting different parents, different children, but it's not quite the same as having that sort of chat with a colleague while having a coffee. So yeah, absolutely, we try and really develop that community spirit, and I would say that our franchisees, the community spirit is fantastic. As soon as somebody new joins, there's a big welcome for them, often physically meeting up as well. We've got franchisees who have developed real proper friendships. There are some now who holiday together, which is amazing. But I think it's because there's a lot of similar people. Everyone's different in lots of ways, but everyone's very similar in other ways. We've got quite a lot of ex-teachers. We've got a lot of native speakers. We've got people from all over the world. So I think you've got that melting pot of franchisees who've got a very similar view on the world and people and relationships and languages, and therefore they connect well. And I think that really helps people at whatever stage they're in their franchise, whether they've been with us, 1 month or 10 years. The fact that they've got those like-minded people around them who they can say, "Oh, can I just ask you that?" Or "What did you do in this situation?" Or whatever it is. It's a lovely support mechanism to have.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely fantastic, and a natural fit for teachers, like you said. If teachers want to find out more about taking on a franchise, because there's a lot of questions to ask, and there's lots of things to make sure it fits with your lifestyle. Because I mean, I know that it's a better work-life balance, because from teaching, you know, you're very restricted. So how would they find out more about what you guys are up to, and sort of learn a bit more about Kidslingo as a whole, to make informed decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would say to people, the first port of call is really to have a look through the franchise brochure. So just the sort of, you know, I say black and white, it's not, it's very brightly coloured. But what I mean is that, you know, the clear information about the franchise and how it works, and the pricing structure and everything like that. So that's on the join the team page on the website, on kidslingo.co.uk. And then I just say to people, just book a chat, and we'll, you know, very similar to this, we'll have a Zoom chat. They can ask me any questions that they want. We can go through whatever their specific questions are in a lot more detail. And then there's a few different routes from there, really, I guess, depending on what stage someone's at. Sometimes people are just putting their toe in the water for maybe thinking about a year, 2 year, even 3 years time. And then we just would sort of keep in touch. If it's a more short-term thing and they're wanting to make a move quite quickly, then there's a number of different things we would do. So we would often introduce them to other franchisees so they can have a chat. And what we try and do is match up those who've got a similar background. So if someone has been or is, you know, a head of department, for example, in a language department in a big secondary school, we've got others who were in that situation as well. So we would say, look, why don't you have a chat with whoever, because they know exactly what you're going through, they understand your role. So we're trying to match that sort of skill set, so to speak, with others. Depending on their location, they can go and view a class. Again, that is dependent on permissions from the school and the nursery or whoever it is, but they can go and view a class so they can see it in action. And we always say, look, it's so good to just sit there in the class and put yourself in those teachers' shoes. You know, can you see yourself doing this? So that's really good. Obviously, look at all of our social media, our webpage, all of those sorts of things which have got information about us. And then it normally comes back round to a sort of, again, another conversation with myself, going into the real sort of nitty gritty of everything and asking all the questions. And people often say to me, oh, I'm sorry, I've just got another question. Is that okay? And I always say, honestly, ask as many questions as you possibly want, because, you know, it's a big decision. It's a big step. It's got to be right for everybody involved. And, you know, you've got to ask everything that you want to ask. Often family members get involved. So I've had conversations with people's, you know, other halves. I've had conversations with people's parents who maybe are helping them financially with the step. Again, that's fine. If it's, you know, if it's a bigger family decision, then absolutely more than happy to have a chat with those individuals and bring them into the decision-making process. So it's a very personal process based on the individual, I would say, because everybody's different. So yeah. I just want, you know, when we get to that point of, you know, signing on the dotted line, you know, we've got to just make sure it's right on all levels, you know, for them, for us, everything really.
Yeah. So you know, that synergy has to be there, doesn't it? And I think that's, you know, that's lovely, because it is a partnership, isn't it? I know we call them franchisees, but from everything that you've said, you know, you work with them, you know, everyone's working together for a common good as well. So yeah, this partnership's really important. So it's nice to know that they can ask as many questions as they like and keep sort of touching base, because for lots, it's not a short process. It is a sort of, you know, they are probably still teaching and they're just thinking, what could I do that would work better for myself, or give myself a new challenge? And, you know, so asking questions throughout and just making sure that you're confident, I suppose, on the choices that you're making. But if you don't ask the questions, you don't know, do you?
Exactly. And I'd much rather they were asking the questions, you know, right at the beginning, so they've got all the facts, rather than, you know, 6 months down the line when they're like into it and hadn't asked about certain things and didn't know certain things. So yeah, it's an open book. There's nothing, you know, there's nothing to hide. There's no catches. We're very, very transparent. So you know, always ask away, and we will, you know, give them the information that they need to really fully understand what we do, how we do it, and how it could be right for them. And it's not right for everybody. No, you know, it's got to be, as I said, it's got to be right for them. It's got to be right for us.
Wonderful. Well, I will put those links into the chat as well, so people can click on those directly and find out loads more. But as you know, Anna is open to chat to you. So give her a ring, make an appointment, have a chat, and then she can pass you on to some other relevant people to talk to, and you can really discover if Kidslingo is right for you. Well, thank you so much, Anna, for giving up your time today and telling us in much more detail about your franchise and how you work with children, with nurseries, with schools, and your franchisees as well. It's lovely to hear that sort of complete kind of community package. It's really nice. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Absolute pleasure.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.